Welcome to Christian Soldier 99. And 1 in 4 pregnancies leads to a miscarriage. And so we want to sort of talk about some of our stories. And it's not always good to talk about. And a lot of times people say, well, it's kind of taboo or don't want to talk about that. And we sort of want to share our stories so everybody understands that you're not alone, and hopefully you can find strength in our struggles, and as we've found strength in everyone that we've spoken to in their struggles, realizing, hey, we're not alone. Unfortunately, this is, it's sad to say, almost a normal thing, but it's a devastating feeling. So stay tuned, and when we come back, we're going to start our talk, okay? Welcome back, and I'm going to go ahead and let my wife begin, and we're just going to jump right into it.
I just want to start with a little bit of backstory about where I've come from, and I'll let him fill a little bit of his backstory in as well. So I grew up in a small household. My mom's one of two, my dad's one of two, I'm one of two, and I've always wanted to have a large family, which has never really made too much sense considering I come from one of two. So growing up, I never really put a number to how many kids was too many kids. I just knew I wanted to be a mother. After my breakup with my college boyfriend, I started really praying and thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. And I asked my mom a question one day. I said, Mom, what are your thoughts on adoption and fostering? Because I really feel like God's been telling me lately that the kids I'm supposed to raise aren't all going to be my own. I know I'm supposed to be a mother, and I know I'm going to have my own kids, but for some reason, God's been really placing on my heart heavily lately that I'm going to be mothering children that are not my own. So I always thought, from that point of understanding, I always thought I was going to adopt someone, adopt a kid or foster, or join the foster system. It never occurred to me that I would meet and fall in love with a man who had 4 children from a previous marriage. I am a stepchild. I have a stepmother, but it never occurred to me that that was going to be the call that God had placed on my life. But really, from that point up until I had met Billy, God was really working on my heart to be prepared to step into the role of being a stepmom. So that's really my backstory. I remember when we first met and when we really started dating, I said, listen, if this is going to go anywhere, I need you to understand that I do want my own kids as well. And I know you already have 4. Do you even want more kids? And it was funny because he had always wanted 6.
Yeah. My mother would tell you as a child that I always said, I was going to have 6 kids. I'm going to have 6 kids, Mom. So.
And then I'll let him share his backstory on why he knew that we were going to have a child.
So I was going through a divorce. I was pretty emotional. I was working as a security guard part-time, and I was doing my rounds, and I was being emotional, meaning I was crying. I admitted it on tape. Thanks for that. But so I was doing my rounds, and I was up at labor and delivery, and
security guard at a hospital.
Yeah.
At our local hospital.
So I was at labor and delivery, and I was getting ready to walk through the doors, and it's like clear as day. God said, stop. And so I stopped, and he said, turn around. And I literally turned around, and the moment I turned around, the nurse was holding up a baby, just picked up a baby, a newborn baby, and was looking at it in such awe. And God said, I'm going to give you another child. I'm going to give you a baby. And I was like, what? And I knew God's voice. I know God's voice. I knew it was him. And it didn't make sense to me because I wasn't even fully divorced, let alone thought of even having, a new wife and a baby. It really blew me away. But that's what he promised me, and I was like, okay, I'm going to hold on to that. And
So roll back around. We've been married for a year now, and we're outside. Well, not this moment. This is obviously still past tense. We had to wait about a week and a half past our actual anniversary to go away. We waited for one of the weekends that the kids would be with their moms, so that we wouldn't have to worry about leaving them with babysitters or anything. And so we went over to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and just spent the weekend at a B&B in the area, and we went over to Hershey Park. If you haven't ever been there, go. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, we were at Hershey Park, and I was just having this crazy out-of-body experience with all of my senses. I was everything. I could taste everything. I was like, man, this water, we were in the lazy river, and I said, this water just tastes horrible. It keeps splashing in my mouth, and it's disgusting. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I mean, it tastes like chlorine, but there's like all these other, I don't know, it's gross. I said, I think this water's really dirty. We should get out. And then we were walking down another section, and I was like, oh, I don't know who it is, but someone in that group of people that just walked past us smells horrible. They have horrible BO. And he starts laughing, and he said, when we get home, you're taking a pregnancy test.
Oh, no. Let's talk about the potatoes.
Oh, he took me out to dinner at Houlihan's restaurant, and they have these loaded mashed potatoes that are really, really good when you're not pregnant, but apparently when you're pregnant, they're divine.
She was going on and on about how great these were.
I've never tasted such good potatoes in my life. And I was sitting there telling him all the ingredients in these potatoes. I can taste garlic, and I can taste butter, and I can taste this onion, and I can taste this cheese. And you have to try these. They're phenomenal. I've had these potatoes before at this restaurant, but this is the best they've ever been. And he takes a bite. He says, Katie, they taste like potatoes.
Yeah.
So he's just laughing at me, and he says, when we get home, you're taking a pregnancy test. I was like, what? No. And he was like, seriously, you're showing a lot of the symptoms. The heightened senses. Yes. Pregnancy brain is not friendly. Heightened senses are a big sign that you're pregnant in early pregnancy. So I said, well, you would know better than me. You've got 4 kids. And so we got home, and the next morning I took a positive pregnancy test, and we were both just so ecstatic and over the moon. Again, it was maybe a month past our 1-year anniversary. So when it's your first pregnancy, and most pregnancies, actually, the OBs don't really see you for your initial visit until you're 8 or 9 weeks pregnant. Then they can verify how far along you are and how the baby's looking as far as development goes and everything. But anyways, so I was waiting for my first appointment. We were roughly 6.5 weeks in, and we were so excited and sitting on our bed looking through the name book trying to figure out, well, what if it's a girl? What if it's a boy? What are we going to name it? And, just doing the whole early nesting stage of just finding out that you're pregnant. And I was horribly craving fruit. So he had stopped on his way home from work and brought me back a fruit tray. And I had eaten like everything on that tray. I think the watermelon and the cherries were my favorite. But I just suddenly got nauseous and felt like I had to go to the bathroom or I was going to die. So not to be gross, but I felt like I had diarrhea. And so I ran to the restroom and nothing. And I was sitting there trying to figure out what was going on. And suddenly I felt myself getting ready to vomit. So I turned around and threw up everything that I had just eaten. And I was thinking, well, maybe this is just morning sickness, but I had horrible, horrible stomach cramps. So I contacted my OB, and they said, that's normal. Don't worry about it. And I said, well, I've been spotting too. And they said, that's also normal. Don't worry about it. And I said, okay. So I went through the whole weekend having this stomach cramping pain, and the only thing that would alleviate it was like a hot bath with Epsom salts in it. So I got a hold of my sister and told her what was going on. His sister, my sister-in-law. I claim her anyways. And talked to her, and she's like, you know what, that sounds exactly like the stomach bug I had last month. You probably just got sick. I was like, okay. That could be we just had a really crazy weekend a couple weekends ago for being away for our anniversary. So I figured I'd wait it out. Well, we waited all weekend. The pain just kept getting worse. I couldn't even lay down in bed. I had to build pillows up and lean forward onto the pillows to sleep because of how bad my stomach was hurting. On Monday morning at 7 a.m. when my local family doctor's office opened, I called them and I said, is there any chance you can squeeze me in today, because I feel like I'm dying. I said, I'm in so much pain and my OB won't see me until my first appointment, which is still 2 weeks away. So they got me in, and my doctor was on, my family doctor, the one that I've always seen, she was on vacation that week. So I saw someone I'd never seen before, another lady doctor in our family practice, and I told her all my symptoms, and I was having these pains from my lower stomach down on the right side of my lower abdomen, and it was shooting pains up into my shoulders and making it hard for me to breathe. And I said, I'm really concerned. I've never been in this much pain in my life. I've never had this much sickness in my life, and I've never been pregnant before, so I'm thinking it's correlated to the pregnancy, and I'm really concerned that there's something wrong with my baby. And she said, well, I'm going to let the OB worry about your baby, and I'm going to worry about you. So she looks at my thing and she said, it looks like you have another 12 days, 10 or 12 days till your OB appointment, so I'm just going to let you wait. You can see your baby then. And I said, well, I'm not concerned about seeing the baby. I just want to make sure it's okay. And she said, well, I'm more concerned about your appendix and your gallbladder. So the next morning I went in, they did an abdominal ultrasound, and they called me back and said, we don't see anything to be concerned about. Your gallbladder looks fine, and we couldn't even find your appendix, which means there's nothing wrong with it. The only thing we found was a little bit of free fluids in your abdominal cavity. And I said, well, why is there fluid in my abdominal cavity? A cavity is supposed to be an empty space. And they said, well, it's fairly normal for pregnant women to retain fluids and to have a little bit excess free fluid. And I said, but where is it coming from? If there's an empty hole and all of a sudden it's filling up with liquid, something sprung a leak. What's leaking? And they said, well, we're not really concerned about it. We don't know what's leaking, but we're not concerned about it. I said, okay, fine. And I went back home and continued with my life. Well, about 3 days later, Thursday, July 22nd, I was in horrible, horrible pain. And I spent more than half of my day curled in the fetal position on the floor of my bathroom. And when my husband got home from work, I said, I can't do this. I need to go to the emergency room, which I was putting off because I worked there.
Hi, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Also hit that notification button, ring the bell, that way you never miss a new video we upload. Have a great day. God bless.